figures. This is the only speech I give that I give from notes. The reason I give this speech from notes is because even though I know this information, I don't want to know this information. The things I'm fixing to share with you are going to disturb you. It's going to make it difficult after you walk out this door, if you stay with me, for you to go out in that world and look at it the same way again. Okay, if you stay with me till the end, I'm going to show you something very beautiful, very mystical, that can bend reality and make that not such a scary place. So when you stay with me to the end, you'll understand why, even though I know this, I don't want to know this. Okay? I'm going to ask y'all, if you had to think how many toxins, if we tested y'all, okay, a standard toxicity test, 210 toxic elements, how many of those elements do you think we would find in your bodies? Do you think you'd find at least 50? Is that everybody? Okay. Think you'd find at least 100? Anybody think they'd hit 150? Okay. All right. I am working with a realistic group. Thank you. I sometimes have people that won't even raise their hand at 50, and I just point them out right then and there. You're in denial. Okay. The Bill Moyers study. Have y'all heard of this? Bill Moyers, he's a famous TV personality. I don't watch TV, so I'm not sure who he is, but that's, if you Google it, Bill Moyers study, all right? The Environmental Work Group, EWG, it's on their website, and their website is an invaluable resource, okay? I do have, by the way, just so y'all know, a mailing list, and I will send you a free copy of the PowerPoint, okay? So you don't have to take 100,000 notes, just kind of star which one. As long as you give me your email address, I'll give you a free copy of this, okay? So the Bill Moyers study, they tested them for 210 chemicals. And on average, okay, the people that were tested did not live near a chemical facility and did not have any risk at their job. So this is not anybody that was at any high risk whatsoever, okay? They found an average of 167 chemicals in these people. They caused cancer, birth defects, and 94 of them were toxic to the brain and nervous system. Now, they fall in several different groups because you can be toxic to the brain and nervous system and still cause cancer. All right, so 167. Now, this was done, a little while ago. It was done since 2000, but not like current day, not post-Fukushima or oil spill. All right, so we'd probably be ranking in just a little bit higher now. Industry does not have to test chemicals for their safety. You would think they might have to, right? They don't. We are being bombarded every day. If it has a TV commercial, don't buy it. I mean, that's about the best I can say about it. We are being bombarded every day by so many toxins. It's almost surreal. And there are no controls. Bill Moyers, by the way, let me get off this. They found 84 contaminants in his study. Apparently, he's pretty health conscious. And they found PCBs, lead, mercury, dioxins, volatile solvents, organic phosphates, and phthalates. Now, Obama's done something pretty interesting. He's done the President's Cancer Panel for reducing environmental cancer risk, and this was done in 2009. Now, if you read this report, they say on what page? On page 16, okay, of this over 150-page report, it says that one has to prove without a shadow of a doubt a chemical is causing a harmful effect before any action will be taken to get it off the market. It is almost impossible to prove without a shadow of a doubt that a chemical is responsible. We'll get to that in a minute. Okay, but that's like no burden on industry. None. Okay, you have no protections out there when you're buying a product. If you buy a product and it says natural on the label, all they have to do is put one drop of something natural in there to call it a natural product. Don't be fooled. Don't be duped. Read your labels. Now this little slide, I wish y'all could see it in full color. It has a little baby's thing. This is disturbing. Most babies are coming in toxic now. Okay, the average baby is coming in. They tested this EWG website again. They tested the newborns and they found over 200 different chemicals in the newborns. An average of 20 per baby. But it's passing the placenta barrier. And babies are getting sick. Okay, or getting toxic. When you're toxic, cancer increases, asthma increases, autism, ADHD, diabetes, skin disorders, neurological, neuromuscular, autoimmune, chemical sensitivities, and hormone imbalances. Now, hormone imbalances are endocrine disruptors. All right, this leads to things like diabetes. Okay, the hormones are very important. We don't think about it too much. We don't know too much about it, but they're very important. All right, so here we're going to get to why it's hard to get beyond a reasonable doubt that the chemicals are toxic and causing harm. I'm sorry. Why aren't doctors testing for toxicity? Have you ever been to a medical doctor and had them say, John, dude, you're just heavy on the mercury. Let's do a detox. You've got organophosphates. We just need to pull that out. You'll be fine. Never had a doctor do that, have you? All right, this is all by design. The world out there is kind of... All right, why don't they test for toxins? Do y'all have any clue? There's no diagnosis code for mercury toxicity or organic phosphate toxicity or PCBs or lead. With no codes, there's no insurance payments. So it is impossible in today's society to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that a chemical is causing toxicity because a doctor can't test for it because they've got no codes. If you want to get tested, here you can take a note. Okay, this is important. Metametrics has a core toxicity profile. You go to the Metametrics website and you find a doctor in your area that's using these tests. And you will find out if you have PCBs or if you have heavy metals. And they test for a lot of different things in here. Okay, and it'll give you an accurate look at where your body is now. That's if you're really sick, okay? Because we've already agreed we're all toxic, okay? If you're really starting to get sick, find out what it is. All right, so the next thing is the body burden, all right? We all know we all have chemicals, okay? We all know we're going to go out there and we're going to be exposed. We're being exposed right in here. The carpets, the lights, the ink that my stuff's printed on, that's toxic when I touch that. Every receipt, every time you buy something. Every time we do anything, we are being exposed to things that are not great for our body. So when the body gets full of toxins is when we get sick. It's called body burden. All right, once it reached its level. And most of these toxins stay in our body for years, 15, 20, 30, 50 years. So it's not like I was exposed to this and then, well, it's out of my body tomorrow. The only thing that moves through your body quickly are phthalates. And that's from plastic. We'll get to that. Okay, everything else takes a long time to get out of your body if it does at all. So what you want to do is just keep your body burden down. Keep your exposure level down. Not to the point where you're paranoid and not to the point where you're neurotic, because you can't get away from it all. All right? But you want to be aware of what has your higher risk and say, okay, well, you know, I like doing this and I'm really not going to quit that, but I know these 3 other things are 3 things that I can avoid. So I can keep my body burden down. Does that make sense? Okay. One of the first sources of exposure is, of course, food. We are what we eat. At every chance, buy organic and non-GMO. Just period, end of sentence. Okay. Now, this is a beautiful website called foodnews.org. Have y'all heard of the Dirty Dozen? It's pretty common. Everybody? Well, all right. They have the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. On the Dirty Dozen, these are the ones where you really want to buy these organic. Okay? Bother, if you like these fruits and vegetables, bother to make sure because they are the dirtiest. And on the Clean 15, you don't have to be so uptight about these. Okay? These are pretty clean, organic or not. On the top of the list, I'll just read through it. Celery, peaches, strawberries, apples. On apples, right, and the reason why the chemicals that they spray on the crops are so toxic is because we can't get them off. You've got to buy some of those special cleanses or wash it in acid water to get it off, because when they spray it, it's an oil base. Okay, things are either fat soluble or water soluble. If you get something toxic and it's water soluble, well, it's going to move right through your body. If it's fat soluble, it's going to stay. Okay, it's going to deposit in your lymphatic system. Well, when they spray the crops, they're spraying it with an oil-based product. Well, it gets rid of the bugs and it helps it grow, and that's all good, but it's not necessarily something you want to eat. And so when you take your apple and you stick it under the faucet and you wash it off, you're not getting it off because it's oil-based and oil and water don't mix. So you're still eating it. If you juice, okay, take your apples and cut the top part out where the stem is, because when they spray, a lot of that goes in and just stays right there. Okay? So cut those out. If you don't have a pH machine, then get the fruit wash. If you can't buy organic. You know, they sell it most grocery stores. Our next source of food, which is salmon. Now, I love me a good salmon, okay? I know so many people who go to restaurants and say, I'm doing good for myself because I'm getting the salmon today. Ask those people, is that salmon farm raised? Or ask them, where'd you get your salmon? Wild caught in Alaska, by chance? Because if the restaurant gets their salmon from a good place, they're going to be proud of it. They're going to tell you real quick, yes, we get our salmon from here. Okay? If they kind of go, I don't know, I got to find out. I'll get something else. Okay? The EPA says to only eat one serving of salmon farm raised a month. This is the EPA. I'm going to be honest with you, that scares me to death. That tells me don't ever eat it. All right? EPA is high in mercury. It's got 40 times more PCBs than any other food. Now, when I say wild caught only, I was in Kroger the other day. All right, I'm going to get me some salmon because I do love me some salmon, okay? I think about this lecture, I think salmon. So they have two things of salmon. First one, $7.50. Has to be farmed. I picked it up, look at it, farmed. Okay, put it down. The next box was double the price, same size. This has to be better. On the front, it even said wild caught. Don't be duped. Picked it up, turn around. Wild caught from a farm in Thailand. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I just need to take a picture of this because nobody will believe that. But read your labels, okay? I didn't get the salmon, by the way. I forewent the salmon. I remembered what it tasted like. Now, I did say it has 40 times more PCBs, okay? Now, PCBs, you know, a lot of these words are starting to come out in the vernacular of the consciousness. PCBs, what's that? PCBs are industry waste. All right, most of it's been getting dumped in our waters. All right, they have a half-life of 15 years. What that means is it takes 15 years before they start to break down. Okay, so it goes into the water, it's in the soil, the salmon ingest it, the fish ingest it, we ingest it. Okay, and it stays around, and they're really toxic. All right. And this is why I say I can't know this. I know it, but I can't, because it drives me crazy to go to the grocery store, as you can so imagine. Other things that are high in PCBs: butter, canned tuna, chicken breast, pancake mix, eggs, popcorn, and refrigerated biscuit dough. For some reason, the refrigerated biscuit dough bothered me because that's something I never bought before. But it just bothers me because I see so many people grabbing it and feeding that to their children. Who would have thought refrigerated biscuit dough? All right, but it's in the land, it's in the soil, it's in the fruits and the vegetables. They say they're unbelievably dangerous and linked to cancer, diabetes, and poor neurological development in children. And whenever they say children, you know adults as well. Okay, now when you've got a neurotoxin gets in your body and it attacks your nervous system. Most of these that I'm going to talk about have neurotoxic properties, or they're neurotoxins. A neurotoxin is so hard to diagnose. This is another reason why the doctors just aren't getting it. Okay, because when you have a neurotoxin in your body, one day your eyes are going to mess up, and the next day your right hand's not going to work, and tomorrow your bladder isn't doing right. Anything that requires a neurological impulse to function, which is pretty much everything beyond sleep. You know, once you wake up, everything is a neurological impulse. Every function. And neurotoxins attack randomly. So you can't really get a grip on what's going on. Doctors can't really get a grip on what's going on. Okay, well, your right hand's not working. Let me write you a prescription for that. Your bladder's not working. Got that, and we can even do some surgery too. Okay. See where the gap is? Now, the red flags on if you have organic phosphates, chlorinated pesticides, PCBs, okay, these are the things that you should say, hello. You know, if you don't get tested, go ahead and start detoxing, okay? Headaches, brain fog. All right, the brain fog gets really bad with people. Fatigue, muscle weakness, bowel response, that means either constipated or diarrhea. Adverse reaction to meds, caffeine sensitivity, thyroid problems, high blood pressure, anxiety, and mood disorders. Oh, well, we've got something for your anxiety. Here, let me write you another prescription, right? And we're still not looking for PCBs. How much salmon did you eat last month? Has your doctor ever asked you that? Ever? Once? Okay. The best foods for detox are miso soup, green tea, brown rice, and broccoli. Okay. Now the green tea you've got to take with a little consideration, because more than 2 or 3 glasses of green tea a day, and that's going to start making you constipated. So all things in good measure. Okay.
Why does the miso soup work?
I am not quite sure why the miso soup works. It's something in the herbs that they use to prepare it, possibly even the tofu.
Right.
But the miso soup is one of the best known detox foods. Sorry, I don't have an answer for that.
Okay.
I don't know I've tried to make miso soup, so I can't wrap my mind around what's in it. You know, I've tried to and failed miserably. So I generally just go to the Chinese restaurant and order my miso soup. So, but I know it's in broccoli and brown rice, green tea. All right, so beyond food, okay, we could spend 3 months on food, okay? But I've just really highlighted the things that you just need to pay the most attention to. Okay, refrigerated biscuit dough, out. Butter, eggs, organic. Salmon, Okay? Pay attention to those foods. And, once again, go look at the Dirty Dozen. Our next source of exposure is our lifestyle, okay? Benzene. Benzene is an airborne exposure, so that means that when we're out and about, we're breathing it. Benzene is a big, nasty, now it has a small half-life. It moves in and out of your body pretty quickly. So even if you get an exposure and you know it was benzene, by the time you get to the doctor and get tested, most likely it's not going to even be in there to show. So back to that panel, that they can't remove a chemical until it's proven that the chemical is what's causing the toxicity. The benzene is real hard to prove, all right? Benzene's found in the combustion of gas. So when you're driving down the road and you've got your air vents and you've got your choice of the recirculated air, the air coming in, always choose the recirculated air, okay? Cigarettes, pumping your own gas, indoor air fresheners. Have you all seen this commercial that they plug in the little indoor air freshener and it does the little thing and it goes and surrounds the baby and through the house? Okay, fragrance oils are benzene, have benzene. Okay, fragrance oils are in a lot of skincare products too. All right. Glues, paint, furniture wax, laundry detergent. For laundry, what I suggest is an ionic ball. You can get them off eBay for maybe $10 and they last a year. No chemicals whatsoever, just ionically cleans your laundry. But laundry soap is one of the most toxic things, and I have a list when we get to the end of the 12 most toxic things you're going to find in your household. Laundry soap, because of the benzene. All right, so ionic ball. That's an easy way to get around it. Borax, if you don't want to do that.
Have you used soap nuts?
I haven't used soap nuts. What are they?
They're some kind of shell on a fruit, and they're supposed to be completely organic. You put them in a muslin bag, and you just crush them a little bit, and they're good for like 5-6 loaves. I've been using them for 2 years because my kids have a little bit of eczema.
Right, that sounds, the eczema.
So we got all the laundry soap out, and I tried doing a more natural version, and then somebody showed me these, and I'm just like, until somebody shows me otherwise, it's golden. I paid $25 for a 3-pound bag, and that was a year ago. I have a family of 6.
So you're good.
So yeah, they're awesome.
I have had so many of my clients that once I just get them off laundry soap alone, so many of their symptoms dissipate. And they say, well, I hadn't been sleeping through the night, and now that I've washed my sheets, all my bedding, with this ionic and got all the chemicals out, now I'm sleeping through. And then my skin's clearing up. I had not heard of soap nuts, but. All right, benzene leads to leukemia, breast cancer, male infertility, reduced infection fighting, and abnormally long menstrual cycles. Now, ethylbenzene, benzene's cousin. Okay. It, once again, comes from gas exhaust, carpet, tile, paints, cigarette smoke, same as benzene. Okay, you've got a lot of similarities. The effects with ethylbenzene are brain fog, hearing loss, and multiple chemical sensitivity. So if all of a sudden somebody's spraying some store-bought deodorant or perfume and you're starting to get sensitive to that, where before it never bothered you, you might want to consider detoxing for ethylbenzene. Okay. Xylenes have an airborne exposure. These volatile solvents, we walk out here and we're exposed to them. They're everywhere. Xylenes, brain fog, headache, depression, mood changes, behavior problems in children. And I'm going to skip ahead because I'm going to let y'all I'm going to skip ahead on the volatile solvents a little bit. And one thing to note, styrofoam cups, that's another volatile solvent. They mostly, and the volatile solvents mostly cause the neurological problems. All these different things I'm talking to you about, neurological, neurotoxins, hard to diagnose, hard to chase down. Thorn makes an excellent volatile solvent detox. And Thorne, Thorne products. They have a lot of different products that are nutritional, inexpensive, and pull the toxins out of our body. Okay, which I'm going to get to a case study in a minute. Phthalates and parabens. All right, that's been in the news a lot lately, right? And I was in a store the other day, and the lady was like trying to sell me some lotion and didn't know who I was. Okay. She's like, oh, there's no parabens in it. And I said, oh, really? What are parabens? She said, well, that's Vaseline. And I said, so what you're telling me is what you want me to try. It doesn't have any Vaseline in it. No, it doesn't have any Vaseline. I said, oh, okay, cool. Can I just read the label? You know, and I'm reading the label, and you know, whenever you have the initials DI, and any initials that end up in a P, that's for paraben, because the word's really, really long and they don't want to write it out. Okay, no mineral oil. You're right. Thank you. No Vaseline. Thank you. But just be careful when people are trying to sell you something. Still turn around, look at the label, read it, what's in it. All right, the phthalates and parabens are basically everywhere. They're even in pharmaceuticals, but they're in just about every personal care product you can buy at Walmart. Do y'all have Walmarts up here? Okay, all right. But if you can think, if it's on the shelf at Walmart, it's got this stuff in it. And you can read the labels. All right, now the phthalates are plasticizers. The phthalates were what I was referring to, that they get in and out of your body pretty quickly. They don't stay longer than a day. However, they disrupt your hormones, your sexual hormones. They make men infertile and they make women infertile. And they mess with menstrual cycles and breast milk. Okay, well, I'm past that. I've had menopause. It still will affect you, okay? When you're looking at plastic, you want to see how soft it is. The softer it is, the more phthalates it has in it. But if it has, the harder it is, it's going to have the BSPA, is it? Hold on 1 second, let me cheat. The harder it is, we'll get to that, it's got something else in it. Okay, so soft or hard. But the softer it is, the more it's going to leach the phthalates. If you're young and you're still interested in having children, because infertility is a big issue, you want to stay away from the soft plastic, like, you know, like a plastic bottle, plastic water bottle. Fat content. How much fat content is in that plastic bottle? If you're looking at cheese, you're looking at something that's full of fat. Well, that's going to absorb more of the phthalates. Never, ever, ever heat anything in the microwave. God forbid use a microwave on your food, okay? Because that just really pours the parabens in there and the phthalates. They're saying even newborn babies are coming in phthalate toxic, okay? But the hardness of the plastic, the fat content of the food, and how long it's been in the plastic bottle. Okay, take all that into consideration. Go to the grocery store, look at what is not wrapped in plastic. Not much. But a piece of meat is not going to get as much leached into it as something such as cheese or milk. All right. Phthalates and parabens are also associated with uterine fibroids, endometriosis. In children, it's associated with aggression, poor conduct, depression, and reduces alertness. All right, that's the phthalates and parabens. Back to just about everything in your personal care products and plastics. All right, you really want your personal care products to be natural and organic. When you think about going to the doctor and they prescribe a patch, have any of y'all ever had a patch for medicine? Okay, well, they do it for smokers. Okay, that's a good example. Smoker can put that patch on and he's good to go. All right, it absorbs into the skin very, very, very quickly. All right, our skin is our largest organ and it takes in a lot, almost more than we eat, because when we eat, our body can digest and separate a little bit and we might pass some of it out. But when we put stuff on our skin, all of it absorbs in, and it absorbs in pretty rapidly. Bisphenol A, that's the hard plastic. Okay, so soft plastic, hard plastic, kind of screwed either way. All right, steps to lower your body burden. No more heat or plastic with food or beverages. Okay, when you've got food and you're heating it up, do not heat it up in plastic, period, ever again. No more styrofoam. For phthalates, look for your labels. You know, the chemicals that you're going to look for are DEHP, DIDP, DINP. Basically, if it ends in P, like I was saying, that's a phthalate. Paraben-free on the cosmetics. Don't use pesticides, carpets, air fresheners in your house. Get a good HEPA filter. All right, the next thing we want to talk about is heavy metals. Okay. Heavy metals, aluminum toxicity, they say just about everybody is aluminum toxic. It's amazing the body burden of aluminum right now, and supposedly the chemtrails are pretty full of aluminum and barium as well. Okay. For mercury, if you have mercury in your mouth, there's a video you can watch called The Smoking Tooth, and it shows how much mercury you're being exposed to if you have mercury fillings. All right, and that's beyond the mercury in the food and the water and our fish. Our fish is real high in mercury. Besides the chemical toxicity, you can also have spiritual and emotional toxicity. And what I find is someone who is emotionally toxic and spiritually toxic, you know, I blame you for this, and I'm mad and angry all the time, generally is physically toxic as well. And the more you can get yourself alleviated of the lower emotions of blame, shame, anger, and the more you can get yourself spiritually centered, the easier it is for you to get the toxins out of your body. They all three seem to work tangentially together. But the lower you vibrate, and you think about this, I mean, I don't think anybody in this room vibrates low, but we all know somebody who does. You know, and they're just on that continual cycle of non-ending drama and bad luck and sickness, and you know, everything is just this constant spiral downwards. It's all connected together. I'm going to show y'all something. I'm going to let you pass it around. This is from a case study with one of my clients. They worked the oil spill. Okay, they were only down there for 4 months. They never went onto the water. This test was taken in November of 2010. They came back, their ethylbenzene levels were off the charts. I think it was what, a 0.42? Okay, wish I had the... All right, the 95th percentile for benzene is 0.11. Okay, now when they start talking about 95th percentile, when you get these test results back, because it's kind of tricky. 95th percentile is if we checked 100 people in the population, the 5 top people would be this toxic. All right, and that means they're probably about to die. So if you're falling in the 95th percentile, they say you really probably don't have too much longer to live. Okay, this person was showing 4 times over the 95th percentile. Okay, when they went down to work, they were healthy, they were strong. They went down to work in July of that year. They were healthy, they were strong, they were active, they worked. All of a sudden, went to work, didn't feel good one day, and it started going downhill rapidly in 3 weeks. Okay, very rapidly. On that day, that test was taken. Most people thought that that person wasn't going to live another week or two. Okay. The symptoms, and I've got to read this, forgive me. Hair falling out, short-term memory loss, long-term memory loss, blurry vision, bleeding sinuses, ears bleeding, loss of voice, severe cough, irregular strong heartbeats, loss of appetite, acid reflux, swelling and pain in the liver, pain in the gallbladder, constipation, numbness in limbs. The nails were breaking. bladder incontinence, uterus, irregular cycle, burning sensations in the feet, the skin, dry, itchy skin. The nerves were on edge and pinched. They developed shingles all of a sudden, pain in joints and muscles, swelling everywhere, loss of strength and endurance, fatigue, tired, bouts of depression and hopelessness, extreme weight gain. They gained like 40 pounds in 1 month. Burning sensations like hot flashes, and then freezing. Now, that's something that's very important. A lot of times when I've read a lot of these symptoms, they could correlate with other things. Okay, well, that might just be high blood pressure, or that might be something else. When someone's experiencing back and forth with the temperatures, that is toxicity. That is volatile solvent toxicity. No test. All right, now what we did first was to get them ready to start detoxing. Because when somebody's body burden is over the level, when the cup is full, you've got to detox slowly and carefully, because the detox can be more lethal than living with the toxicity. Okay, because when you think about it, when you detox, everything in the lymphatic system is deposited into the fat cells. Because it's water soluble, it's out. So you've got to pull it from the fat cells back through the body. And it goes live again, and the body's got to process it again until the body can release it. When you're dealing with neurotoxins, when you pull them out of the lymphatic system and get them back through the blood system, and they get filtered through the kidneys and the colon, and they're about to be excreted because they're neurotoxins and they like nerves, they catch a ride on a nerve and recycle themselves right back in the body. Okay. The best way to detox is via the skin. Period. End of sentence. Just like the skin is a great way to absorb toxins, it's also a great way to let loose the toxins. This is why so many people today have eczema, psoriasis, and so many skin disorders, because the toxins are trying to leave naturally through the skin. Okay, well then if you go use laundry soap and put another toxic coating on and seal it in, it only goes one way at a time. It's not moving both ways. Either the toxins are leaving or the toxins are coming in. So when you're coating yourself with more toxins, you're making it very difficult for the toxins to get out, and that's why you have the breakouts.
So you're recommending a sauna?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Oh yes. I'm fixing to go through, what we did to detox. Okay. And so it's very difficult. This is what first we supported the liver and the gallbladder. Okay, because that's going to be the first thing to take the brunt of the detox. All right, and we did the Hilda Clark gallbladder cleanse, and that involves Epsom salts, and she has if you Google it, Hilda Clark gallbladder cleanse, okay? And you fast, and then you lay down for the night, and it's pretty painful, but it gets the gallstones out, and it cleanses the liver.
What if you had your gallbladder removed? And it wouldn't be beneficial for you to do anything like that?
No, it wouldn't help. However, you could do other liver cleanses. All right, and I'm not familiar with anything that's designed just for the liver. There are things to do to support the liver, which I'm fixing to kind of go over. But as far as a liver cleanse, probably a castor oil pack. Edgar Casey's castor oil packs would be just for the liver. Okay, when you do a good castor oil pack, you'll feel it. You'll feel the blood rushing out of the liver. You'll feel the liver rejuvenating. They say it's taken people that have had liver cancer and completely turned everything around for them. Just the castor oil packs alone. Alpha lipoic acid, milk thistle, can also be taken orally to support the liver. All right, for the adrenal glands, all right, because you've got to avoid stress. Now, this is just getting this person ready to start detoxing. We weren't even detoxing yet, okay? Because you've got to get the body ready, because the detox, like I said, it's such havoc on the body. And so the adrenal glands, I got her off sugar, got her to avoid stress, and off caffeine, okay? And that helped support the adrenal glands. To support the immune system, I had her taking CNCR, which is a really good, strong multivitamin. and something called colostrophin. All right, and it's based on colostrum. Colostrum passes the blood-brain barrier and will help pull toxins out of the brain. All right, but it also supports the brain. Colostrum is very supportive to the immune system as well. I also had her on all sorts of different oxygen therapies, such as hydrogen peroxide. If you take 2 of the big bottles of hydrogen peroxide, add them to a bath, that's going to pull toxins out. All right. Now that's not the food grade is something different. This is just 2 regular bottles of peroxide that you can go to the store and go buy. All right, and that oxygenates the body and it pulls toxins out. I switched some to pH water, and I also got her in the hyperbaric machine, but that took a little while before we could get her in the hyperbaric machine. We also looked at her emotional state before we started detoxing, because stress not good, and if you're fixing to go through something like she was fixing to go through for her detox, we had to have her calm, all right, and peaceful. And so to help with that, I had her drinking chamomile tea with lavender and a supplement called Natural Calm, really high in magnesium. Magnesium is also good for the nerves, and if you've got a neurotoxin that's attacking your nervous system. Magnesium, now the interesting thing, magnesium taken internally takes over 3 years to do cellular corrections. Magnesium taken externally only takes 3 months. So you can do magnesium oil and Epsom salts, and that's going to do a lot to correct the magnesium levels in the body. Okay. Of course, I had her diet going. Now, once we started the detox, okay, I really focused on detoxing through the skin, so her body didn't have to turn around and reprocess all this. Okay. We did oil pulling. Are y'all familiar with that? Okay, this is an Ayurvedic tradition. You take something like safflower oil first thing in the morning, take a mouthful of it, and swish. All right? Swish until it doesn't have the viscosity of oil anymore, and then spit it out. And spit it out somewhere like the toilet because it's going to be full of toxins. Our tongues are huge detox organs. And, if you think it's coming from the brain with the tongue. All right? And then what I like to do when I follow with the oil pulling is to take hydrogen peroxide, swish that around the mouth, okay, to continue to pull, because the oil pulling really starts a good process, and once you start doing that every day, first thing in the morning, you'd be amazed at how much that pulls out.
Do you recommend food-grade peroxide for that?
No. No. Now, food-grade peroxide you've got to be very, very careful with. It's extremely strong, like 1 drop on the skin can burn your skin. Okay? I suggest food grade in like a gallon of water, doing a few drops, and actually drinking that. Okay, but if you're going to use it for just taking a bath, what you get at the Walgreens or the CVS is just fine. Okay. We did a lot of baths, okay, because baths really help pull from the skin. And we did activated charcoal, bentonite clay, and all sorts of salts. I mean, every kind of salt you can think of. Dead sea salt, Epsom salt. I just had her changing out her salts as she was going. Bentonite clay, charcoal. Charcoal has been known to pull radiation out of bodies. Okay, and now that we've got Fukushima being a concern, adding a little bit of charcoal to your bath is not a bad idea. Okay. Dry brushing. Have y'all heard of dry brushing? All right, dry brushing stimulates the lymphatic system and also detoxes the body. All right? And so what you do is you take a brush, and the important thing is keep it dry. Like, only rinse it off every now and again. All right, so you don't want to get straight out of the shower and be wet and use your dry brush. You want to wait till you dry. Okay, and you do want to use it after the shower. And what you do is you work with the lymphatic system. Okay, and so when you start brushing, you brush up. Okay, and you brush up the leg, and then you brush up the tummy, because this is the way the lymphatic system flows. Brush down the arms, okay, down the neck, because it all kind of flows into right here, if you can imagine that. but it flows upwards. The head flows down, the arms flow in, this flows. All right, so you dry brush. Do a lot to take a lot of toxins off your body. There's something called detoxamin. They are suppositories, and they will pull heavy metals from your body at an unbelievable rate. Heavy metals are very difficult to pull out. Mercury is very difficult to pull out. To get mercury out, the detoxamin suppositories are kind of expensive. However, they're 1/10 the cost of IV chelation. All right, and it has almost the same effect as IV chelation. So it's just, if you get to that point and you're recognizing that your symptoms are coming from heavy metals and you need to get the heavy metals out, the detoxamin is a much more affordable alternative. Okay. Now this was taken 3 months after. And at this point, she went from being almost dead, November 1st, to December 22nd, returning to work part-time. Her doctors still had not begun any treatment with her. They were observing her, they were monitoring her, they had taken all sorts of tests on her, but had not started any kind of treatments, mainly because they didn't have any. Beyond, here's some painkillers. Oh, and here's some anti-inflammatories. Wow, you gained 40 pounds, here's some pills. Okay, she's now back to work full-time. Everything's all good. But pulling out through the skin. Okay, support the body when you detox. Recognize that just about everything out there is toxic. All right, we're living in a world where industry does not have to prove that things are toxic or safe.
No, just starting to jump into a sauna automatically makes the body start to detox.
Mm-hmm. Right. Now the saunas, the infrared saunas are by far the best. Mm-hmm. They get a deeper sweat, so to speak. When you do the baths with the salts, that's going to cause you to sweat more. And that's going to pull more out. And then also, the magnesium in the baths. Your body will absorb some of that. But saunas are excellent. All right, the top 12 cancer-causing things in the normal household. What do you think the first one would be? Just out of curiosity. Detergent, it's on there. It's not the first one. It's a baby product. It's baby powder. Okay. And not only is it toxic, it's also flammable. So they say if you're doing your baby next to an open flame, such as a candle or a gas heater, that it's happened a lot. And by the way, at my booth, I have non-toxic baby powder. CoverGirl Replenishing Makeup, it's a foundation. It's the second most toxic thing in the house. The third one, Crest Tartar Control Toothpaste. The fourth one, Alberto VO5 Conditioner. All right. The fifth one, Clairol Nice and Easy Hair Color. The sixth one, Ajax Cleanser. Now I put 6 and 7 usually on the same page because they're both about the same. The Zud, it's kind of like Ajax Comet. All right. And this isn't toxic to your bathtub, it's toxic to you. All right. And I've been doing this for quite a long time. And there's something I call North Monroe woman's disease. Back where I come from, on the north side of town, is where all the wealthy women are. All right. And you know that they went in there. That bathroom does not smell clean. Because they all have maids, plural, all right? And so the maid went back in there because she never wanted to hear that again. And she over-chemicaled the bathroom, especially the bathtub. So that when the North Monroe woman, who has never worked a day in her life, goes in there and goes, oh, it smells clean, because she smells the chemicals, right? And so then, being a woman of luxury and comfort, gets into her bathtub and soaks. And of course, probably with soaps and bath products such as these things, right? And then these women get neurologically sick pretty early, and it's almost a syndrome. And I joked and called it the North Monroe woman disease, because you could see it on every one of them once they start around 45, 50, all right? And they weren't sick like South Monroe women or West Monroe women, but you can almost see the story play out. Bathroom's not clean, huh? It'll be clean next time, I promise you. Number 8, Lysol. All right, people are using Lysol to go and disinfect their home to make it a healthier place, and it is the 8th most toxic thing in their house.
Schools use it. Like my kids' school supply list requires them to bring in Lysol brand.
Right.
Lysol brand.
Right.
Disinfectant wipes and sprays and things for the classroom.
Mm-hmm. Homeschool. I did.
I would if I could afford it.
All right. Have y'all heard of the ORAC scale? The ORAC scale is the oxygen reduction capacity of different items. All right. Now, I mentioned I have a booth downstairs. These top ones that I list are essential oils that I actually use. And I have clove oil, and it comes in at over 1 million on the ORAC scale. Okay, and this is basically germ killing ability. All right. Myrrh oil is at 379. German chamomile, 200,000. Eucalyptus, 83,000. Okay. A serving of carrots is 210, just to give you a little perspective. Lysol, the product we just talked about, is a 6. And it's number what? Number 8 on the most toxic thing in the household.
So how would we use clove oil or myrrh?
Okay, myrrh is a very thick oil. It's a resin. All right, but if you wanted to use it like in place of your Lysol,
Just for household cleaning.
yeah, you could take a spray bottle, and when you blend things, you want to use about 6 drops of essential oil per ounce of whatever you're doing. So if you have a 4-ounce spray bottle, okay, and you're going to blend the oils with, let's say, rubbing alcohol, because you're not going to put that on your skin, all right, because you don't want to put alcohol on the skin. You'd mix it, let's say you got a 4-ounce bottle, you'd want 24 drops of essential oil. So say you want to do 2 or 3 different essential oils, you would just divide it out, get a total of 24, shake it around, and then go spray your house like people would spray with their Lysol. Okay? ORAC scale, though, very interesting. All right, this one, I've never heard of Zodiac, but dog and flea collars, because we love Fido. So let's put something really toxic on him too, right? Weed Be Gone. Number 11, hot dogs. And, all this, when I email you, you'll see what all's in there. There's just so much in hot dogs. I like looking over this. I'm like, I wouldn't even feed this to my dogs if they were starving. Just saying. God. But I noticed that they have natural hot dogs in the stores now. You seen them? Because they put a drop of something natural in that hot dog. They can label it natural hot dogs. All right. Whole milk. See how long its list is of how toxic it is. That comes from the PCBs, because you've got the cows out there grazing on the farm. All right. And you've got all the industry waste that's settled into the land.
Does that include organic?
No, it does not include organic. Thank you for that. Then we have a whole section devoted to laundry detergent and how toxic it is. But if any of y'all are still using commercial laundry soap, please just stop. Be dirty. It's cleaner. It's just so much to go over that once you start talking about what every little thing does, it just gets really depressing. Okay, and then now here's where I'm going to teach you how to bend reality. All right. That's there. It's all out there. You know, you could probably look a little bit more and say, wow, I see it a little bit clearer, how toxic all this is, right? Plenty of people have drank and smoked cigarettes and ate food that was not organic and worked in chemical plants and lived to healthy old ages without getting sick, because not everything is real. You've got to remember that, right? We can bend this reality. Mother, Father, Creator, God, Creator of all that is, I ask that you come down and reach down and touch the food that I'm eating now, all the food that I've ever eaten in the past, and all the food that I will ever eat in the future. Transmute all the toxins in this food so that nothing truly harms me. Come reach down and touch the air that I breathe and the water that I drink, and transmute all the toxins in this water and in this air. Do it for now, do it for in the past, and do it for in the future, across all timelines, across all dimensions, and across all realities. Thank you. One blessing, one time. Don't have to sit there and pray every time you do anything. But just understand that we are connected to something higher than us, and this is really not as real as we think it is. And this woman walked through a cloud of benzene and lived. This is my proof that it's not real. Okay? So you don't have to be sick. It is still about choices, and it's being aware. Don't go put yourself in a cloud of benzene to prove the prayer works or not. Okay? Children, don't try that at home. All right? But we're in a cloud of nastiness every time we breathe. All right? Jump into that higher power, bend the reality, make the better choices, lower the body burden, and you'll be amazed at what happens. No, it's okay. Because I'm pretty much done.
About the plastic. What about people that wear contacts?
And the eye has a lot of fat content. I just personally wouldn't suggest it. However, you still have to live life, okay? And like I said, you're going to have some choices that are hard that you're not going to change, and you're going to have 3 or 4 choices that are soft that you can change. And what you want to look at is the body burden. How full is the cup? Okay, so there's some things that I can't change. Like, I'm not going to change and take these out of my eyes. All right, but I can change and start doing Epsom salts in my bath.
And bend the reality.
And bend in reality.
Thanks for asking that. I was happier not thinking about my contact.
All right. But the thing is, just bring down the body burden as best you can. Okay? And Mother, Father, Creator, God, Creator of all that is, I ask that you come down, reach down, and touch these women, and touch their eyes. Let them see clearly, and transmute any toxins that come to their eyes or through their eyes, so that these toxins are now removed. Amen. Now tomorrow, I'm going to speak at 1. This is kind of my boring stuff. It needs to be said, and it needs to be put out there, because people kind of need to be aware of this, because it's not coming from anywhere else. Really, sort of, kind of. Got the blondes that are selling. Okay. oh, it's paraben free. Try some. You know, it is entering into the consciousness, all right, on some level, which I love that because 10 years ago, nobody knew what a paraben or a phthalate was or even thought about caring about it, okay? So it is coming to the present, and we are becoming aware of it. All right, but tomorrow, my speech is going to be way more about the whole bending reality. All right, there won't be notes. There's just going to be one picture I'm going to show y'all, and that's it. There's no notes. No boring facts. You have more questions that you haven't asked. You're thinking about a lot.
Oh, yeah. No, I was thinking very much.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll send y'all, we'll email y'all the files. If y'all have any questions, please feel free to.
What's the D.N.H stand for?
Doctorate of Natural Health.
Oh,
Yes. Yes, I'm kind of an ND, but not really. Where I went to school, did something, and they thought that I should be a little bit more than an ND. So they changed my degree on me,
okay.
which is kind of cool. It has kind of worked out to be like better. So I'm like, okay, all right, interesting.